Ahead and hit record. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Consistent Communication. We are going to be talking about email newsletters today. Let me move this a little closer to myself. And so Courtney is going to be our chat box moderator. So if you guys have any questions, you will be able to put them in there and she will be able to help you out. So let me get this started. Oh, I hit the wrong screen. Of course. Yay, technology. There we go. All right. Can everyone see that big screen? Beautiful. All right. So here we go. So, as I said, I am Powerhouse Coach Suzanne, and I'm going to be talking about email newsletters today. Courtney is going to be moderating our chat box. You guys can ask questions to the group. I can't see them right now. You can also ask me questions directly. So if there's an anonymous question you want to ask, simply use the little drop-down feature in your Zoom chat box, send it directly to Courtney, and she will be able to answer it, ask it anonymously. So let's get moving. We have a deep dive for this. So this is only our 30-minute workshop. We're going to be doing a full hour on emails. We are going to be creating an email together in our deep dive. But you have to be in the Powerhouse Coach Collaborative, a small private community of coaches. We meet inside of Heartbeat app. You'll have access to our deep dive trainings, one-on-one coach matchups, all of our previous deep dive trainings. Every training we've ever done on there, guys, is there and included, like hours and hours and hours of training. And it is free for your first 2 weeks. So Courtney is going to drop that link in the chat if she has not done so already. And if you are already in Powerhouse Coach Collaborative, right up here, join us next Thursday evening. You can't make it at that time. As you know, the video will be included in full inside of the Heartbeat. And finally, our conference. I'm so excited. I'm seeing all these memories pop up on Facebook of our conference last year. It was so much fun. This is the final list of topics. We are also going to be doing a ton of panel discussions on each of these. So all of these are going to be talked about and then expounded upon with all of the coaches. Super excited for Courtney's high converting consultations, not going to lie. And we will be presenting this on Saturday, November 4th. And tickets are on sale. VIP is $797, General's $447, and this shows you what you will get included in those tickets. The VIP is really where it's at. That includes the digital toolkit, the 1-hour coaching session with a coach of your choice, and our VIP mailing package last year was freaking fire. It was so awesome. So if you guys want to take advantage of that, message Courtney now and she will be giving the first 5 people a $50 off coupon code. All righty, let's get into some email newsletters. That's why you're here, right? So let's start with some numbers. Why are we even talking about email, right? It's 2023. Who cares? TikTok's where it's at. Well, that depends on who your ideal customer is. Because 74% baby boomers, 72% of Gen X, 64% of millennials agree that email is the most personal channel to which they receive communications from companies and brands. So 64 to 74% of the population agrees that this is the most personalized channel. 59% of all email recipients, so that's everybody, Zoomers and above, it say that email marketing influences their purchasing decision. And nearly 22% of all email campaigns are opened within the first hour of sending. If you put up a social media post, it could take days for someone to see that. Days. They may never see it based on what the algorithm is. If you're posting on Facebook and they haven't engaged with your page, Facebook's not going to allow you to see, not going to allow them to see your most recent post. So 22, that's like a 25% guarantee that someone is going to see your email as opposed to social media, which, guys, let's be honest, right? Depending on what the algorithm is that day, it just kind of goes and blows into the breeze. This one was huge. I looked this up a couple years ago and I hadn't done it in a while. The average expected ROI on emails is $40 to $1 spent. That's crazy. That's absolutely insane. I did find some. OmniSend is kind of like a Nielsen in terms of like uh, digital marketing analysis. So it's a big company. I did find some studies that said it was as high as $48. So if we're spending $120 a year on a website and email marketing tools, times that by at least 40, maybe 48. So that's why we're talking about emails today. These are powerful tools that still exist out there. It doesn't include social media and dancing around on TikTok. So, are we emailing? We are emailing potential clients and potential referral partners. Everyone out there is either a potential client or a potential referral partner. So think about that. Everyone you talk to. Um, let's use the example of a financial advisor that maybe you met at a local networking thing. He may have, followed Dave Ramsey's baby steps. He may have, uh, he may be a Susie Orman devotee and he knows everything about finance and personal finance and blah, 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 blah. That guy and his wife are maybe not going to ever be your clients, but they're a great referral partner. They don't even have to work in the financial space. Your niece can be on your email list. Your 22-year-old niece who's graduating college and has $100,000 of student loans and wants nothing to do with any of your advice. She is still a potential referral partner. What happens in 2 or 3 years when she and her friends are sitting around talking about their student loans and she goes, my uncle is a financial coach and they actually help people with that. So everyone on our email list falls under one of these two buckets. Now, the most important factor in any human being who has access to email deciding to open that email is recognition of who is sending the email. So before we can get started sending emails, we need to check ourselves and figure out how our branding appears to everyone outside of our inbox. What are people going to see when they see an email from Grace Financial Coaching? Does it automatically get to, that's my company. Does it automatically get deleted or does it automatically get open? So before we even write our first email, we're going to do a branding checkup. So let's start with the absolute basics. I recognize a lot of names on this call right now, and the majority of people already have these in place. So what is your business name? We had a discussion about this in Powerhouse Coach recently. Do you use a business name or do you want to use your own personal name? Well, one of the things I want to point out is I specifically chose not to use my name. I did not personally want to use my name. There is a big benefit to using your name though, because let's say, for example, I have a pool store and I name it Suzanne's Pools. Well, I'm a really good pool salesman. So what happens in 2 years when I want to add hot tubs? What happens in 2 years when I want to add saunas? What happens in 3 years when I want to add patio furniture? Well, now Suzanne's Pools is, I've now limited the scope of what people think of me as what I sell with my products. So the benefit to just using your name, SuzanneScullion.com, which I'm not taking, um, uh, is that I can add on to the scope of my practice and not have to change my business name. A lot of our business names are tied to DBAs, doing business as. If you have a S corp or an LLC, depending on what state you're in, they're all slightly different. But if you just use your name and we call it Darius Stillwig Coaching, then you can coach on anything, right? Scott Miller Coaching, he can coach on to be financial coaching. It can just be scottmiller.com. I'm sure that one's taken. That sounds pretty popular. So I would recommend you make that decision. But if Suzanne's Pools, if I had known when I started the pool store that I was going to be in all sorts of outdoor leisure, I may have called my website Suzanne's Outdoor Leisure Company or Suzanne's Leisure Company. And then that would have allowed me to expand my offerings without changing everything, without rebranding. Second thing is, and if you guys attended, I know there's a couple people on here attended the conference last year. I spoke on logos during your long game of marketing presentation. This is actually important. I literally don't care if you take that circle and you put your name in it and make it green. Like that's your logo. The reason is because people start to subconsciously recognize you. If you're not going to use Scott Miller Coaching, you're going to use a different name for your coaching company. You want them to somehow associate that name of that company with what you are doing, and being able to have them open an email and go, who's this from? Oh, there's that green color that Courtney uses all that. I know who this is from. And now we're associating that email with Courtney for business. So logo and color are actually important. You do not need to spend $5,000 having a professional logo done. My one that's here behind me was $75 on Fiverr, like 3 years. So it does not have to be super complicated. Yeah. This is a point of contention with some people who are starting out and do not want to be spending a lot of money. But if you are sending email newsletters, we have to have a place to direct them to. We're going to be including a lot of links. So your landing page or website is a simple place for your contact information and important links to live. I've seen them as low as like $26 for the year. So this is not something that's really, really expensive, but I'm going to explain why it's important, and slightly more important than just linking them back to a Facebook page. So going back to that landing page discussion, keep it simple, friends. A landing page is a website that is one page. That's literally the description. On that one page, we are going to have a couple paragraphs and a nice picture, contact me, and a call to action. Typically, if we're coaches, we're having people schedule a consultation. Every single one of these listed on here, if you guys want to take a screenshot, make sure you're smiling. And then all of these here, except for the very bottom two that have a little asterisk next to them, all of these include a landing page and give you the option to upgrade to their email newsletter system. So if you want to start small and just literally sending emails from your business account, carbon copying people, that's totally fine. But if you want to build a landing page for $26 a year and then eventually upgrade on HubSpot to their email marketing program, it may be beneficial for you to commit to one of these now, learn how to use the back end, and then add on your email marketing program through that software later on. So, for example, I started with GoDaddy. I was not using email marketing yet. I knew I wanted a good, thorough website. I also didn't want to deal with writing code. It uses templates. So that's how I got started. I think my website, including the domain and the domain protection, which is kind of like title insurance on a house, is like $180 a year. And then I think the email marketing program is like $250 a year. So this is not thousands of dollars a month, but I also don't want you guys to spend money on something that you're not going to use. So if we're not prepared right now to build the landing page, commit to one of these softwares, and eventually sign on for the email marketing, I want you guys to look into Card or Linktree. Use my Linktree as an example. So Linktree, you go on there, you create a Linktree, and it includes all of your pertinent links. Mine looks like. So this Linktree page, if I didn't have a website, this would be the page I'd be redirecting people to. Here's my logo. Here's all of the links. They can go to YouTube. They can click on this to send me an email. Here's a link to my podcast. Here's my call to action. Here's my testimonials page. I just decided to put that on. And here's my basic website. So this is free. Linktree is free unless you upgrade. This is completely free. So this would be a good holder place landing page if we're not at the place where we want to build a landing page or start a website yet. All righty. What goes in? Now we have our branding done. Silly emails. So, we have curated content, creative content. Those are two different kinds of content. For the curated content, I want you guys to steal shamelessly. go to Business Insider, go to Wall Street Journal, go to the New York Times. You can, use it can be like the Facebook news pages, anything that you can take the link of, and it's going to send people to that website. Uh, the most recent article that I've been sending to people has been was actually on CNN uh, in August, and after a 2-year study, the study that they were reporting on had concluded that Americans were spending $709 a month more on the same exact goods and services than they had been in July of 2021. Do I need to take that article and rewrite the whole thing? No. I can just take the website URL. I can just stick it into a link in my email and I can say, hey, are you feeling the pinch right now? It's not just check out this study reported by CNN that shows every American is experiencing some sort of significant increase, same exact goods and services as they were 2 years ago. That's it. 2 sentences. That's it. Just add a little bit, put your own personal thoughts on it if you want, and you're done. Created content. This would be if your landing page, if you wanted to write a blog post, and some landing pages do include blogs. You can write it yourself. You can take that CNN article and just, hey, here's this article I recently read. Here's 4 pages of my thoughts. And we do have those coaches out there who love and love and love and love to write, but it's not for everybody. Typically, if you're going to write your own content, you want to keep the article to a less than 4-minute read. And the other thing you want to do is if you are experiencing writer's block and you're short on time, use AI. Don't be afraid of it. It's pretty cool. Nobody's used it before. Court, maybe you could drop an chat GPT link in there and people can play around with it. And basically you could say, literally you type into that thing, hey, chat GPT, write me an article about inflation for the past 2 years. Write me a short article. Make sure you say short. AI doesn't stop. Write me a short article on inflation over the last 2 years. Write me a short article on student loans restarting in October. I mean, guys, it's so simple. It's so easy. It is a little scary to use at first, but once you get used to it, it's literally like having a conversation with a computer. So, highly, highly recommend if you're at the place in your coaching business where your time and your money are starting to go like this. Video or audio, if you've appeared on a podcast, if you, which would be audio only, if you've appeared, guest appearance on a TV show, which I've done in the past, local, very, very, very local, put those in there. There are 2 ways to do that. You can embed it so that when the person opens the email, it means that they see the thumbnail of the video of your cute little face, and they should instantly know to click on that to get the video to start. Or, again, kind of like what we were saying about the curated content, hey, here's a link to my most recent interview with Katie so-and-so of News Channel 12 in Virginia Beach. And then they would click that link to get to your video there. Same thing with audio. It can be embedded in there so that they would see a little play button. And again, instinctually, everyone's going to know to click that play button. You can listen via the email, or include a link as well. I also strongly encourage things with personal images, not that personal, but a selfie of you. I just put up a bunch of pictures of me at a business expo last week or 2 weeks ago. Definitely got more engagement on Facebook than my last 16 posts. Seriously. People love to know what you are doing personally. That's why we have television shows like Keeping Up with the Kardashians. That's why people are YouTube influencers. They're really just sharing what they're doing on a daily basis. So no need to include like pictures of your kids or anything like that unless you feel comfortable with it. But hey, here's me holding my son apple picking. Here's me holding my granddaughter. We're out apple picking. This is something fun and cheap to do in the fall to help save you money on your October budget. That's it. There doesn't even need to be a link to the local apple farm. But that will help people to understand you, know who you are, to feel like they know you. So that's what's going in our emails. Oh, the other thing I wanted to say, if you ever meet with any of your referral partners, highly, highly recommend taking a picture. That would be a good personal image to include in there as well. So what do we also need once we're done with the body of the email? So I'll go back really quickly. So this is what, this is the content of the email. This is the body of the email. What else always needs to be included in these emails? Always, 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 your business information. I will give you a great example. I was going to this local day spa once a quarter to get a facial. They rebranded. I got an email from them and I had no idea who the heck they were. There was no indication that they had changed the name of the business. There was no indication that they had moved locations. All I started seeing were pictures of this girl named Haley. Who the heck is Haley? And why am I on her email list? I unsubscribed instantly because I thought someone had bought my email address. So you guys need to make it clear who is sending the email. Um, you don't necessarily have to have your business, like if your business address is your house, you could just put Virginia Beach, Virginia, Chicago, Illinois, whatever it is. So you don't have to do that, but include all of your contact information, include your website, include your social links. Like you saw in that link tree, a lot of times when you build your email newsletter, it will have a place for you to put your social link, and the email newsletter software will know to include that in every single email. They're very smart. You're not going to have to do this every single time. Most of the time, you're just going to build a template and you're going to use it again. The other thing, obviously, right? Call to action. Always, always, always include something in there. Asking your readers to do something. Book a consultation. Forward this email and get a referral bonus. Reply yes if you want a free budgeting form. Something to get them to engage with you. They're not going to do it every time, right? Because if someone's on your email list and they were someone that you did a consultation with 3 years ago, they may not book another consultation with you. But I recently had somebody from 3 years ago on her email list reach out and say, hey, we're ready for coaching. Guys, I cannot tell you, that happens to me monthly, that I get a response to my email newsletters saying, oh my gosh, thank you for staying in touch with me. I didn't call them. I didn't personally text them. I am not the best at following up with, I've got 1,400 people on my email list. There's no way I could personally text all of them, but those people feel like you're staying in touch with them. And every month, every 2 weeks, whatever your consistency wants to be, quarterly, every other month, don't overwhelm yourself. They feel like you're reaching out to them and that they recognize your name. They see your business name in their inbox and they're opening the email. So they're not, you should never really look at your click ratio unless your email is specifically driven around a very succinct call to action. In the deep dive, we're going to talk about data and analysis and making sure your emails are having a good click ratio. They do have a good open ratio. Your unsubscribes are kept to a minimum. Speaking of unsubscribes, this is something that must be in every single one of your emails, guys. I know it's going to hurt you personally when that niece of yours unsubscribes. It has to be in there. But you don't want them to unsubscribe. Well, here's my busiest slide. Of course, it's the week. In 2003, Congress passed the Can-Spam Controlling the Assault of Non-Solicited Pornography and Marketing Act of 2003, enforced by the FTC. I know none of you are sending out porn, but if you added someone to your email list, which I do frequently, if I get a business card, I add that person to my email list, guys, because I know that my email includes an unsubscribe button at the bottom of every single email because I'm using an email provider. If you're starting out and your email newsletter again is just going to be from you, all of the emails in the carbon copy line, you must at the very bottom include instructions on how to allow the recipient, to unsubscribe. I know one person who got in trouble with the FTC, and I know one person who has been fined. This is probably 10 years ago now. But this is much more widely enforced than it used to be back in the day. So this must be included. When we go into the deep dive and we talk about the analysis of the numbers, one of the things I'm going to tell you is don't focus on the unsubscribes. If the person's unsubscribing from your email, they are not your ideal client. That's it, right? That's the end of the story. Even if it's your best friend, move on. Move on to the next email. Focus on the person who's going to be the right client for you one day. It may not be that day, but it may be one. So that is as quick as I can possibly make intro to email newsletters. Court, do we have any questions?
Suzanne, do you have any experience with ChatGPT on it being better than others, following certain directions better than others? Like, because one person was saying it won't listen when I say a certain number of sentences, but it will listen when I say a certain amount of words.
Oh, interesting. I've used ChatGPT. I've used Bear AI, which I believe is spelled like the animal, the bear. And what is the third one? I happen to like ChatGPT's just interface. It just made sense to me. Like, here's what I'm asking, here's what they're answering, here's what I'm asking, here's what they're answering. So I kind of just stuck with ChatGPT. I've also done training on ChatGPT for myself, not for other people. And so I just kind of stuck with that one. Any of the AIs, really, whichever one you prefer. If you are short on time and you want to include free content, AI is the way to go now. I mean, the girl who taught the class that I took on ChatGPT literally said her her business is email marketing for major companies, and this is all they use now. That's it.
Right. Have you noticed any part of your newsletter being more effective than the other in terms of eliciting a response or a reply or a scheduling?
I would say I always include my call to action at the bottom because my theory is if the person is serious, you're going to get to the bottom of the email and they're going to find the link. I do have a podcast, I do have a YouTube show, including those links. I will always get responses. Oh my God, I loved this last interview you did with Courtney. Oh
Mhm.
my God, I love this interview that you did with Jim. So I will always get responses when I include podcasts or YouTube links. But I've even, just even the little call to action I put out during Christmas, which is just, click here for a consultation with a little Christmas tree next to it. For some reason, that one gets the most consultations. Maybe it's the end of the year. People are starting to think about New Year's resolutions. I think the more personal you make the content, the more positive reaction you're going to get.
Good to know. And it sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like you're focused on adding value through these newsletters, and the people who want to find out more information about meeting with you will find it because they're reading the whole thing, they're engaging, and otherwise you are nurturing the relationship over time, so that when their window of opportunity opens, they think of you.
All of these on here, this whole slide could have been summed up with what goes in my email value. That's all this is, right? These are just different forms of value. The curated content, they're getting your opinion so that they can value your opinion because they're reading it. The created content, created content, same thing. They're giving your opinion on something or its opinion. Don't tell anyone. Make sure you always proofread your AI articles.
Yes, yes.
Every so often, it speaks robot. So make sure you're proofreading it. Even maybe send it to another coach to have them get a second set of eyes on it. But it is totally worth the time save. All of this is value, right? My podcast interviews hopefully are bringing people value because I'm talking to people about the dumb things they've done with money. And the personal images, don't sleep on this, guys. That value that the personal images are bringing, it's developing a relationship so that when they are ready to coach with you, they already feel like they know you. They already know that Courtney has two little boys. They already know that Scott loves his grandkids more than life itself. They already know that Abby works out every single day. So don't sleep on that stuff. This stuff is needs to go to the top of your email,
Yeah,
depending
such a
on
good
where you are
reminder.
with your email newsletter and your business.
Such a good reminder. Thanks, Suzanne. Trina has a great question. How often do you send out this newsletter, Suzanne?
As often as you can commit to, Trina. So if you are finding yourself in a space where you are prioritizing your tasks over this, I'm going to recommend you start with the mindset of once a quarter. If you're in a space right now where your business is just taking off and maybe you've left corporate America, and I didn't gradually transfer. I went straight from quitting corporate America into coaching. So I found myself with a lot of time immediately. Now, further into coaching, I have less time, ironically. Um, But if you're transitioning from a career, if this is part-time for you right now, if this is going to be a retirement thing and half your time is going to be spent with family, whatever the situation, only commit to what you can commit to, what you can be consistent with. So if we're in, we're recording this at the end of September. If your goal is October, let's get one out in October and let's let the next one be January, Q1, Q4 and Q1. Because boy, in terms of timing, November and December are always, always, always extra busy for everyone.
And another question from Daria, ChatGPT. So I type in the verbiage that I want ChatGPT to improve on. So once they provide me with an acceptable product, I then copy and paste it into my email correspondence or whatever I'm working on. Is there a plagiarism issue?
No, because each question is being asked differently of individuals, and that's one of the things that was talked about extensively in that AI training that I did was, well, if you're writing emails for Walmart, if you're writing emails for one of her clients was a very big makeup company that is escaping my mind right now because I don't wear much makeup. No, because each individual question is being asked by a different person. Now, are you taking the risk of someone else out there asking the same question and ChatGPT giving them a similar article? Yes, but there is no copyright issue right now with email marketing. If you were in college, that would be a different story.
Thank you so much, Suzanne. I know we're at time, and that is all the questions. Thank you guys so much for coming. And if you would like to stay on here a minute and grab, I have 4 more of those $50 off coupon codes for our conference. You can message me or private message me here. And then Suzanne's deep dive will be next Thursday, you said, right? So
Thursday the 28th. And make sure you are in the, if you need that link again from Courtney, I'm sure she has it handy. Make sure you're in the Powerhouse Coach Collaborative before the 28th so you can see how to get in there and register for the event.
Yep. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great one.